So, yesterday we were talking about the Hilbert transform. A Hilbert transform is a function, as we have discussed, which introduces a phase shift of minus 90 degrees with the given signal. And remember, Hilbert transform works in the same domain, that is time domain only. It doesn't shift between two domains like the other transforms. That is, it doesn't shift between time and frequency domain. It works in the time domain only. And generally, the Hilbert transform of a signal is defined as the signal, new signal will have a 90-degree phase shift. So it is something like this. Given a signal x of t, its Hilbert transform will be represented as x cap of t, and x cap of t is computed by taking the actual signal and convolving it with 1 by pi t, which represents providing a phase shift of minus pi by 2. For example, I showed you yesterday, if we have cos theta, then Hilbert transform of cos theta will be cos theta minus pi by 2, which will give you sin theta, right? So finding Hilbert transform of a signal involves shifting it in phase by minus pi by 2 or minus 90 degrees. And why this is obtained as a convolution integral, let us try to start off with the signum function, and from there I will show you how this equation can be derived. Fine. Okay, let's start off on the derivation showing how the Hilbert transform equation can be obtained. Okay, so we know the definition, basic definition of Hilbert transform. Let's say we'll start by considering a filter. So I had told you yesterday, we can represent Hilbert transform of a signal where I can input a signal, say x of t, and I will input it to a system which has impulse response h of t. I'll be getting the output as x cap of t. So this h of t or this system, I can call it as a filter. Okay, it can be named as a filter, and this filter is something which should provide a phase shift of, so from definition we know the filter should provide a phase shift of minus pi by 2 to the given input signal. So let's start from that point. You say consider a filter, consider a filter which phase shifts all frequency components of the input. Consider a filter which phase shifts all frequency components of input signal x of t. So this is the input signal of input x of t by minus 90 degrees or minus pi by 2. So the transfer function of the filter, if h of t is the actual filter, so the filter is denoted as h of t. The transfer function of filter would be, how do I represent the transfer function? It should be in the frequency domain h of f, and Can you give me the best mathematical equation to represent a function which shifts all phases in the input signal by -90? I'll tell you, I can use the function as minus j signum of f. Why this works? Let's call this equation 1. Here, we know that what is the signum function? Signum of f has +1 for f greater than 0. Its value is 0 for f is equal to 0, and it is -1 for f less than 0. We know this is how the signum function is defined. Ideally speaking, if I try to represent this signum function, it will look something like this, right? +1 and -1, and this is at 0. So this is how we are going to represent the signum function. Now, what will be the value of, if I try to multiply this signum function with -j, what will I get? So here I'll multiply this with -j. What will happen to this function? Yes? When I multiply +1 with -j, what will I get?
-j.
You will get -j. So this part +1 into -j, you're going to get -j, or which is equal to nothing but -pi/2. And when you multiply -1 with -j, you will get -1 into -j, which is +j, or +pi/2, right? So you're taking a signum function and you're multiplying it with -j, then you'll get, why are we multiplying with -j? Because I want a phase shift of -j or -pi/2. -j indicates -pi/2. Please remember that. So since you need a phase shift of -pi/2, you are just taking the signum function which is defined like this, and you'll multiply it with -pi/2 or -j. So you're clearly seeing that all components of the signal will be having the same phase shift of -pi/2, and this is how the phase response will look like. So if I want to now write the say the given function magnitude and phase response, how will it look like? H of f. Let me write the magnitude response of the filter transfer function h of f. Transfer function of the filter is h of f. How would the magnitude response look like? I just want the magnitude of this function h of f. So this is the given function h of f. What would be the magnitude for this function? If I try to find the magnitude, you have to square it, right? This will be minus j signum of f whole square. So what is minus j square? My j square is -1, minus of -1, right? This will be minus of j square signum of f whole square. Minus j square is how much? +1. J square value we know is -1. Therefore, minus of -1, that will be +1. And what is the square of this signum function? You see, for all cases except at 0, the square of +1 will be +1 only. The square of -1 square will be +1 again. At 0 alone, it will be 0. So if I try to represent the magnitude function, it will have the value +1 at all values, let's say, except at 0. Anyway, we are not worried at 0, we'll not define. So the magnitude response of h of f will have the value +1. Is this clear? Please ask if you have any doubts. The magnitude response of the given filter transfer function. We have defined a filter known as the Hilbert transformer filter or the Hilbert transformer, as we saw here. Okay, this is the Hilbert transformer. For a given input signal, it will return the function which has a 90-degree phase lag with the input signal. So the output function should surely have a 90-degree phase lag with the input. And if I have to find such a transfer function for such a filter, I could easily do it using the signum function. So we know the definition of signum function, whose value is +1 for values of frequency greater than 0 and -1 for values less than 0. And since I need a phase shift of -π/2 or -j, I will multiply this signum function with -j. Then I will get the required phase change which we need. So we need a phase change of -π/2. And when this happens, h of f will be defined by this kind of function. Let me write the definition for h of f. H of f is defined by a function whose value, so you have to just take the signum function and multiply it with -j. So what will happen? Its value will be -j or -π/2 for frequencies greater than 0, this first value. Since signum function was +1 here, when I multiply that with -j, I'll get -π/2 as the phase change for all frequencies greater than 0. At frequencies equal to 0, it will be 0. And at frequencies less than 0, it will be -1 into -j, which will be +j or +π/2. Okay, this is the definition of the filter transfer function h of f. H of f is the filter used as the Hilbert transformer, and its transfer function is defined like this. Now, I am plotting the magnitude response of this filter, which is, how do I find the magnitude? I told you, I just have to what? Take the square of the given transfer function. And when I find the square, except at 0, at all other points, it yields the value +1. Similarly, if I try to draw the phase response, what would the phase response of this filter be? So angle of h of f. If I try to define the angle of h of f, it is what? -π/2. We have already drawn that here. It will be like this. It will be -π/2 or -j for all positive frequencies, and it will be +j or +π/2 for all negative frequencies. This is how the angular argument for the filter transfer function looks like, right? So with these basics, now we have defined a filter and we have to use this filter and we have to find what? I have to find what will be the time domain representation of this signal, and I'll try to define what is the time domain equation of a Hilbert transform. Okay. So since we are seeing that both the what magnitude function as well as the phase, let's say here the magnitude function, can I call this as a even function? Yes or no? You see, for negative values also it's giving positive, for positive also it's giving positive. That's why the magnitude function is an even function, whereas this phase plot of h of f, this is a odd function. Whenever the values change for negative and positive, so when negative frequencies have a different value and positive have a different value, it is surely an odd function. And when both negative and positive have the same value, it is surely an even function. So the magnitude response is an even function and the phase response is an odd function. Therefore, if I take the inverse Fourier transform of this kind of transfer function h of f, I am going to get a time domain signal which is a real function. It will surely be a real function of time. When you have a magnitude response which is even and a phase response which is odd, surely the inverse Fourier transform of that kind of function h of f will always be a real function of time. So let's just try to move forward and consider, let's say, now let the given input signal be x of t. We have considered it as x of t only. You see here. This is not visible. Okay. We have considered the given input signal. We had considered x of t given to h of t to get x cap of t, right? We had considered it like this. So let it be x of t and let x of f be the Fourier transform of x of t. So x of t and x of f are Fourier transform pairs. Similarly, I'll consider x cap of t is the Hilbert transform of x of t. X cap of t is the Fourier transform pair with x cap of f, and h of t is the Fourier transform pair with h of f. All these we have considered. Okay. Now, how do I find? Therefore, x cap of t is equal to how do I find x cap of t if I know x cap of f? I have to take the inverse Fourier transform of x cap of f, right? So since we know x cap of t and x cap of f are Fourier transform pairs, to find x cap of t, I have to take the inverse Fourier transform of x cap of f, which means it is Fourier inverse of, what could I define x cap of f as? How do I define x cap of f? From this, see, what would x cap of t be from this system? Please answer. Only then I'll know whether you're following or not. You are given a system whose input is x of t, its impulse response is h of t, and the output is x cap of t. How do I define x cap?
Convolution.
Yes.
Convolution of x of t and h of t.
H of t. Then how will this same thing be defined in the frequency domain?
Multiplication.
Yes, it becomes multiplication of x of f with h of f. So x cap of f is defined as x of f into h of f. Please remember this. This is how you define. And what did we define h of f as? What was h of f? We started by assuming something for h of f, if you remember. What is h of f assumed as? Minus j signum of f. Yes or no? We said if the filter should provide minus 90-degree phase lag for all the frequencies in the input, then the transfer function of such a filter is defined as minus j signum of f. And we wrote that equation and we proved it. So replace h of f with minus j signum of f. You will get Fourier inverse of x of f into minus j signum of f. Or in other words, if you want, you can take minus j outside and it will be Fourier inverse of x of f into signum of f. Anyway, let me leave it as it is. Now, my job is to find the impulse response in the time domain. I have defined, we know the transfer function h of f is minus j signum of f in frequency domain. Therefore, h of t can be obtained as inverse Fourier transform of h of f, and that means it is inverse Fourier transform of minus j signum of f. Now, can somebody tell me whether the signum function is something where it's an odd or even function, and can we find the Fourier transform directly for this function? Do you remember finding Fourier transform of signum functions? Yes. Have you done it in signals? Yes or no? At least answer something. Have you found the Fourier transform pair of the signum function? Do you remember what it is?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No? Oh, then should we do it? Okay, I thought you people would have done in signals, you should have done. Okay, anyway, actually, Fourier transform can be found for such signals which will satisfy three conditions known as what? Dirichlet's conditions. This signum function is an odd function and it doesn't satisfy these Dirichlet's conditions. So the signum function, which is an odd function here, will not satisfy the Dirichlet's condition. Hence, we can't directly find the Fourier transform of this kind of function. Can't directly find the Fourier transform. Okay. So I hope all of you know what are Dirichlet's condition. So the signal should be absolutely integrable. It should be all those three conditions you should remember. Anyway, I'll not go through all that now. We have done it in PCS also. Now, since this function will not satisfy these conditions, the energy in the signal should be finite. And because of these conditions not being satisfied, we can approximate, let me say, all of you please note down we can approximate. You will not find this derivation and all in the textbook. Directly we'll go off with the equations actually. We can approximate, say, an exponential function. I'll define an exponential function for the signum function. Say, let us define a function alpha of t. Okay, let me define a new function. I have to find inverse Fourier transform for this using approximate method. And that approximate method involves using some other alternate function for the signum function. So the closest one which I can use is the exponent, which can be defined like this. I'll define this as, say, e to the power of minus at for all, or let me take it in terms of f, it becomes easier. For all f greater than 0 or positive frequencies, it is 0 at all f 0 or at f is equal to 0, and let it be minus e to the power of af for negative frequencies. So can you draw or represent this function? How does it look on a graph? See, I have the x-axis as the frequency axis. At positive frequencies, f greater than 0, what should I represent? This value starts off with, what is the value of e power minus af at f is equal to 0?
1, ma'am.
1. So this value, this function should start off 1. And since it is e power minus af, it should be a falling exponential like this. Yes or no? This represents e power minus af. And this happens at all positive frequencies. So at 0, this is supposed to be 0. And what is the value of this when I put f as 0 here? It becomes minus 1. Minus e power a into 0, or minus e power 0 is minus 1. And since this is e power plus af, this becomes a rising exponential like this. So this gives you the graphical representation of the approximate signal alpha of t which I have considered. Can you give me the condition when this alpha of t will be equivalent to the signum function? When alpha of t can be the signum function, or when alpha of f, sorry, this should be alpha of f instead of t. Can you tell?
0.
Yes, at f is equal to 0. So what should I do? I should use the limits. Limit f tending to 0, or here you can take the, I can't make the frequency 0 because frequency is the variable. I'll take the other value a. Limit a tending to 0, alpha of f. Limit a tending to 0, alpha of f will be signum function. You see here, when a becomes 0 here, I'll get e power 0, which will be plus 1. Correct? See what happens to this function. When a becomes 0, this becomes plus e power 0, whose value becomes plus 1. And in the middle, it is at 0. And for the last one, this becomes minus e power 0. Whenever a becomes 0 here, it becomes minus e power 0, which becomes minus 1. So am I not getting the signum function from these exponentials? We have defined a new function alpha of f as having the value of a falling exponential for positive frequencies and rising exponential for negative frequencies. And from this, if I apply the limit as a tends to 0, this scaling factor a tending to 0, if at all I make a is 0, you see this function easily becomes the signum function, right? And now we already know exponentials are surely those functions which satisfy the Dirichlet's condition to find the Fourier transform, and hence we have already found Fourier transforms for exponentials, and we have used it constantly in our analysis. Even in PCS, everywhere we used to find the Fourier transform of exponential signal. From that, we would consider the Fourier transform of sine, cosine, everything, right? So surely the exponential function satisfies the Dirichlet's condition of Fourier transform. So we will represent a new function using exponentials, and we will say signum function can be approximated or can be obtained by what? By using limit scaling factor a tending to 0 and the function alpha of f. Now our job becomes a little more simpler. Now I have to find what? I have to find the inverse frequency transform of the signum function. You say therefore inverse frequency transform of the signum function. I can write it as limit a tending to 0. What is inverse frequency transform of alpha of f? Alpha of f and alpha of t can be Fourier transform pairs. So I'll say it should represent what? Alpha of f should get converted to alpha of t in time domain. When I'm trying to find signum of f IFT, so I'm trying to find the IFT of signum of f. The right hand side also IFT I should find, which means the inverse Fourier transform of this function will be the corresponding representation in the time domain. Okay. And now let's try to find that. I want you to try this. So I can say this is approximately equal to what do I have? Minus infinity to plus infinity. How do I find the IFT? What's the expression for inverse Fourier transform? Given signal into e to the power of plus j2 pi ft df. Yes or no? Finding inverse Fourier transform of a signal. This is the equation for IFT. How to find inverse Fourier transform? Take the given signal, multiply it with e power j2 pi ft df and integrate it between minus infinity to plus infinity. That's how you're going to find the IFT. Now all you have to do is substitute and simplify. Do it. Minus infinity to plus infinity, or let me split the integrals, it will be easier, because this alpha of f, what have we defined this alpha of f as? Alpha of f was defined as e power minus af at positive frequencies, 0 at 0 and minus e power af at negative frequencies, right? So I have to split this integral into positive and negative frequencies. So let me do integral by parts. I'll break this integral from minus infinity to 0. And what is the value of alpha of f in that range? From minus infinity to 0, f less than 0, its value is minus e to the power of af, e to the power of j2 pi ft df, plus from 0 to plus infinity. So from 0 to infinity, what is positive frequencies? 0 to infinity means the first part, positive frequencies. This value is e to the power of minus af, e to the power of j2 pi ft df. Can I do it like this? All what I'm doing is I'm trying to substitute for alpha of f and find its value. Find the IFT, inverse Fourier transform. So can you simplify this? Please simplify this. Again, I can't sit and solve the whole thing. Somebody can simplify and give me the answer. E power f into a plus j2 pi t. Something like this. And once you try to find the integral and substitute, I think this will approximately come to j, and then as far as I remember, I'm writing a square plus 2 pi t the whole square. I want you to simplify this a little more. All you have to do is now just take out the integral of e power something, e power af, and simplify. This will tend, I think, it will come to this. I think if I simplify this much further, I'll know if this is right. Therefore, let's say, the inverse frequency IFT, once it logs out, please come back and join. F inverse of signum of f will be limit a tending to 0, j 4 pi t by a square plus 2 pi t the whole square. Here if I put a as 0, what will I get? I'll get j 4 pi t divided by let's say 4 pi square t square, or this will be j by pi t. 4 cancels out, pi t, just pi t remains in the denominator. It's right. So this is what you should. Therefore, what had we defined h of t as? We know that h of t was defined as the inverse frequency transform of h of f. Yes or no? Which is inverse frequency transform of minus j signum of f, which means it is minus j into inverse frequency transform of signum of f. What is this then? Here I have found the inverse frequency transform of signum of f as j by pi t. Therefore, this will be minus j into j by pi t. How much will this be? It will be minus j square, which is minus into minus 1 plus 1 by pi t. Yes. So this actually you're supposed to know. You should have done last time. The inverse Fourier transform of the signum function is 1 by pi t. We can directly assume this. I just showed you the derivation so that you will understand once how it is done. For the first time, if you understand, at least you'll remember what it is done. All what I needed you to know is the signum function is an odd function and it doesn't satisfy the Dirichlet's condition. So I should use an approximation of a new function which involves exponentials, rising and falling exponentials, and then I should get the signum function by taking the limit as a tends to 0 of this new function. Whatever function I have assumed using exponentials, when I apply the limit as a tends to 0, only then I will get the signum function. And this is how we will solve for Fourier transforms of such functions which do not have or which don't satisfy the Dirichlet's conditions. Okay, so please refer to this. And to find this, all I have done is I have used the IFT equation, and then I have integrated by parts, and I have taken the integration of these two and obtained the expression. And finally, I am trying to find the inverse Fourier transform of signum of f. That is, I want to find the inverse Fourier transform of h of f, for which we have to find inverse Fourier transform of signum of f, and that value is j by pi t, so which yields the IFT of what? H of f as one by pi t. H of t, which is IFT of h of f, will be given as 1 by pi t. So please remember what? Minus j signum of f is the inverse Fourier transform of 1 by pi t. These two are Fourier transform pairs. I want you to remember this directly. Okay. And now let's go back. We have this. So finally, what will I do? How do I find? Therefore, x cap of t is obtained as what? We have x of t convolved with. So given the input signal x of t, when it got convolved with the impulse response h of t, we'll get the Hilbert transform x cap of t. So what should I do? I have found what is, I had first defined h of f. H of f was defined as minus j signum of f, and h of t, its inverse Fourier transform, is 1 by pi t. After taking inverse Fourier transform of h of f, I'll get h of t, which is 1 by pi t. So what should I do? I should perform the convolution operation of 1 by pi t with x of t. Can you define the convolution integral for this? It varies between, convolution integral will always vary between minus infinity to plus infinity, and we will change the parameter to tau usually. So the first signal x of t or x of tau into the second signal h of t minus tau we would take. If I write here, it will be minus infinity to plus infinity x of tau h of t minus tau d tau. This is how we'll write the convolution, right? So here pi into t minus tau. This is h of t. So I have to find h of t minus tau, means it will be 1 by pi into t minus tau d tau. This is the expression for the Hilbert transform of a given signal. So please remember this. This is how we derive the expression, and this represents the Hilbert transform of the given signal. Okay. So all you have to remember majorly is Hilbert transform is always in the time domain. It won't shift between time and frequency. And finding Hilbert transform is nothing but shifting all components of the input signal by a phase lag of 90 degrees, providing a phase lag of 90 degree. When I say phase lag, it is minus pi by 2 or minus 90. So all the components of the input signal should be provided with a phase lag of 90 degree. Then we get its Hilbert transform. And the expression for Hilbert transform in the time domain is, we'll call the signal. I told you the reason for this cap is it's indicating a right angle here. Okay. So 90 degree. The 90 degree phase shifted version of x of t or its Hilbert transform is x of t convolved with h of t, which can, we know that h of t, the filter, just now we found the filter will have the response minus j signum of f, because it should provide phase lag of what? Minus 90 or phase lag of 90. So this h of f is minus j signum of f and h of t becomes 1 by pi t. We got h of t from taking inverse Fourier transform of h of f. And once we got this, we are just doing the convolution operation to define the time domain expression. So this is the time domain expression of Hilbert transform. We have only time domain. There is, if I want to shift it to frequency domain, this we already saw. This becomes x of f is what? X cap of f is x of f into h of f, or we know h of f is minus j signum of f into the given signal x of f. So what is x cap of f in the frequency domain? If you want to find, but remember, I am shifting the whole equation from time domain to frequency domain, and it doesn't mean that the transform of the signal is in the frequency domain. If the actual signal x of t in the frequency domain is x of f, then the transform, Hilbert transform of the signal in the frequency domain will be x cap of f, which is from this equation. Here it is convolution. So in the frequency domain, it turns to multiplication. X of t and x of f are Fourier transform pairs, h of t and h of f. So just multiply these two. And we know h of f is nothing but minus j signum of f. So please remember these two equations. They are very important, or the basic equations for Hilbert transform. Any doubts with this? Please ask if you have any doubts. All you have to remember in Hilbert transforms are that the actual signal will remain in time domain only even after the finding the transform. And finding the Hilbert transform is nothing but giving a phase lag of 90 degrees. And giving a phase lag of 90 degrees means the filter which is used for that, or the system impulse response, will have the transfer function minus j signum of f, and which is represented by the value 1 by pi t in the time domain. Hence, in the time domain, x cap of t is the convolution of x of t with 1 by pi t. And in the frequency domain, x cap of f is minus j signum of f into x of f. So this is what you will have to remember. Okay. The same equation. How we got this equation is what I showed you just now. How did we get this 1 by pi t? Inverse Fourier transform of minus j signum of f is 1 by pi t. How do I find the inverse Hilbert transform? Given Hilbert transform of a signal is x cap of t. If I want to get back x of t, what should I do? So, or given the Hilbert transform is g cap of t, finding g of t will be in this manner. It will be minus 1 by pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity g cap of tau divided by t minus tau. So what is the actual meaning of this? Can somebody tell me? in terms of equation, it is minus 1 by pi t convolved with yes or no? What is the convolution operation of g cap of t with minus 1 by pi t? I have taken minus 1 by pi as constant outside, and convolution operation of g cap of t with 1 by t will be g cap of tau into 1 minus t by tau d tau. So please understand this carefully. Getting Getting the Hilbert transform, let me take it in terms of g, will be g of t convolved with 1 by pi t. This is how we define the Hilbert transform. And how do I define so the Hilbert transform is defined like this. The inverse Hilbert transform is getting g of t from g cap of t, which will be minus 1 by pi t convolved with g cap of t. So it is the negation of the given signal. Please remember this. Okay. Remember and note down. You have to practice. If not, you will not be able to remember. Okay. With this, I want you to note down the Hilbert transform of some important signals. Make a note of this. I don't know why people have been sending attendance. I want you to make a note of this. These two we had already discussed yesterday. Cos 2 pi fct Hilbert transform would be what? Cos 2 pi fct minus pi by 2. And that would be sin 2 pi fct. Similarly, for sin 2 pi fct, the Hilbert transform would be sin 2 pi fct minus pi by 2, which will give you minus cos 2 pi fct. Okay. So remember, this will be in the first quadrant where or second. Here it will be negative. So we know sine of this will be minus sine of pi by 2 minus 2 pi fct, which turns out to be negative. Yeah. So once you define for sine and cos, any other function multiplied with that, it is the same. M of t cos 2 pi fct will be m of t sine 2 pi fct. M of t sine 2 pi fct will be minus m of t cos. From sine, it will be minus cos. From cos, it will be plus sine. So you have some more function. I want you to